Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. It was so crazy. Yeah, I had to take a whole day to recover from the World Series thing that just happened. It was pretty hard for me to deal with. And this whole bet that Doug Ford lost to Gavin Newsom, the Premier of Ontario, bet the Governor of California about the World Series game. And because we lost, everybody in Canada had to set their clocks back 1 hour. It was crazy. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. Ain't try mopping this. Hit like, share, subscribe. That's right. I hope you set your clocks back to the 8th inning. Wouldn't that be nice? What a painful day. Painful day. But here we're back to talk about weather, this, that, and the other. Hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Joey on the Caribou Weather Dude. And we got the atmospheric river coming midweek to the British Columbia coast. Though I think the river part's really going to be more into the United States coastal side. But we're going to talk about all of it because it is going to be some precip and some wind. Some definite wind Wednesday, Thursday. And a secondary storm will come through by the weekend. But I think it's going to take a northerly course and miss a lot of southern BC. You won't feel much effects of that. So let's talk about the weather this week, the forecast, when to be traveling, when not to. I got people who are going to Vancouver and back asking me, Joey, when should I travel? I'm going to tell you right now. The sooner the better. Okay, let's go. This is planet Earth. There are many planets like it, but this planet is mine. All right, what do we got out there? So far, clearing in BC today. A little bit of clearing. You can see a bit of convective squalls in the mountain. We had a little bit of grapple hail this afternoon. You can see over here, there was some lightning strikes in Saskatchewan at one point today as well. Interesting. Got a little bit of a mess here off the coast, a disturbance. Got this disturbance here, but it's not the main show. The main show is actually further out here. The main show is kind of through the Aleutians, this big guy here. That's the big storm that's going to bring all the mess and noise this week. As you can see, it's pretty clear with the United States. They have a lot of high pressure dominating the most of the continent right now. Bunch of daylight savings time slaves. But we are here to talk about atmospheric rivers. So that is it right there. Boom, to the mostly the U.S. coast, right? And then we have this sort of secondary storm that's going to go further up, and we'll see how much that actually impacts BC. But this is the main storm that we see coming across here. It's going to be bothering British Columbia Wednesday, but especially into Thursday. As we go, expect snow in the mountain passes, things like that, rainfall at lower elevations, but wind. I think we're going to have some good wind gusts Wednesday and Thursday, particularly as the low tries to move through and establish itself into the continent. Here is our integrated vapor transport image, and what this is showing you is water vapor. That's not necessarily rain or the storm itself. That's like the vapor that's available to be used to make rain. As you can see, there's considerable lot. Looks like a lot of that hits towards Oregon, southern Washington, California coast. But then we have a secondary event that's a little bit uncertain that I don't think it's worth predicting about too much what will happen Saturday yet until we sort of see what the first one does as it comes on through. Now we can look at integrated water vapor just to sort of switch it up for you here. And that's this map, and it just gives you a different look at water vapor. As you can tell, as you go near the equator, the intertropical convergence zone, the amount of water vapor is increased because of the amount of heat that's available. Warm air carries moisture, right? And as you go further north, you get into the drier air, the cold air, and that's when the two of them are colliding and mixing that you get these large storms like this one right here that's bringing that atmospheric river. So let's watch one more time here as we go through the loop and try to talk about it as best as we can, the integrated water vapor. The other one was the water vapor transport, but this is the storm right here. Boom, and you can see the water vapor. If you buy now, you can save $30, they say. And I'm like, if I don't buy, I save even more because I didn't waste my money on your crap. And that's what I think about daylight savings time too. So here's that first disturbance I sort of showed you. That wasn't the main deal. Here's the main deal coming off the Aleutians as we go into the work week. Most of the United States seeing a lot of high pressure, seeing a lot of nice weather. Now our storm's starting to get itself dug in out in the North Pacific, into the Gulf of Alaska, more or less. Here it comes out, dropping down 976, 975. How much lower can it go? 971. It's big. Now it's slamming into Vancouver Island. Good. It'll help bring some warmer temperatures into southern British Columbia as it does that. That's nice. We always get that sort of bump up before we get these storms. The sort of subtropical warmth comes up into the province. And 971, sort of strong low for sure. And you can see where all that moisture is slamming down largely into the U.S. coast this week. Here comes like a tail of it, more of it. Now I have the low starting to formulate itself onto the Alberta side there as it does snowfall through BC in the higher country, bit of rainfall there. We'll have a higher look at it here in a minute. Closer look. And then we have the secondary event that we still got to figure out once this first one moves out. This is the secondary event coming right now. We saw the first one was still dumping a bunch of snow there. Secondary event comes in now, getting bigger, but it's trying to take a northerly push, and that's why we're not going to guess too much, because it won't be a huge disturbance for much of southern BC if it does that. What if we made a slide that went from the top of the CN Tower, like a water slide, except the whole thing is lined with razors, and it deposits itself into the Sky Dome, which is actually full of iodine. And then put the guy who came up with daylight savings time on the slide and make him go, like, down it. I mean, who came up with the time change concept anyways? I just hate it so much. It's so stupid. Just like, everybody now, voluntarily change your clocks. Yes, master. We should just change our clocks back 1 hour every weekend. Like, every week. Just every week do. Okay, high pressure down there in the Washington side, spilling up into BC as we come overnight Sunday. Sort of clearing, but there's some lingering snowfall in the mountains, and then we have a bit of a disturbance off the coast there that is making the coastal section of BC fairly wet, and then more snow up in the mountains there. I'm sure as you get towards morning there, if you're in the Vanderhoof area, you might see a little bit of that precip come on through. It's probably going to move north of Prince George, as it does. We got a little bit more down in the south there, so just, those are things that might make the road slippery. Just so you're aware ahead of time. Pretty nice and clear so far in Saskatchewan and Manitoba at that time. We're still waiting for our big storm to get itself organized out there yet. A little bit of snowfall into the evening on Monday in southern British Columbia, a little bit there, but most of the province is seeing nice conditions. Maybe not for the Kootenays. They might take a little bit of flurries there. We have a little bit of a band of disturbance moving north of, say, Fort St. James and whatnot as we come in through to the dawn hours. High pressure established itself. Look how nice it is. Now it's going to have a bump up in temperature. We're going to see the warmth climb up here a little bit. And we're like, wow, it's getting nice. Everything's really peachy. We love it so much. Look, nothing's wrong. It's such nice weather. That's what we're going to say. Wow, look at this, 7, 8 degrees. Watch what it comes up to in the afternoon. I bet you it's going to climb up a little bit. Portland, 14, Seattle, 12. They're having a good time. Us, not so much. So, okay, see if we get lucky yet. That Oregon there having rainfall on the coast there. Mostly things falling as rain. Maybe in their highest mountain seeing a little bit of snow, but not so much. Still, as we come overnight Tuesday, not too bad, but we can see the winds are picking up. You can see the tight isobars. You can see the wind graphic here picking up. So we're seeing those strong winds off the BC coast. That's going to start making its way inland on Wednesday, and it's going to, make for some gusty conditions again, like we had before. We had just the last storm come through, and it produced some 150, 160 kilometer-hour winds up and down the coast. That results in power outages. Here we are Wednesday morning now. If you got to be traveling across southern British Columbia, you're going to come into a mix of rain and snow depending on the time of day as you get more in the afternoon. Sure, northern BC, more snow for you up there than rain. Southern BC, more rain than snow. Heavy rain along the coast there. Revelstoke area up through Rogers Pass, through Williston as well. Heavy snow through the Rockies, heavy snow through southern sections of the Kootenays, heavy snow and rain mix. Heavy rain through 99 Highway. Probably going to be a mix, though, when you go up over the Joffrey Pass there overnight on Wednesday. That's the skinny of it, because the Caribou isn't looking too bad at all. Of course, Prince George, everything's sort of around us. Then we watch that low is now centered over on the Alberta side, and it's making a band of snow, Meadow Lake on over Edmonton, up towards the border country there, up towards Fort Nelson, up towards the Mackenzie Mountains. Here's a more precip still. Thursday, not quite done there, but that's more the story for the Americans, as we know, as I was telling you, right? They're getting the worst of the precip on this atmospheric river that's going to be coming on in. You can see up and down, but still, Vancouver Island going to take it pretty hard on Thursday, late afternoon and the evening. Southern BC going to take it pretty good. This low still delivering. We'll be waiting for that to clear out before the next one shot puts on through Thursday. Very messy, very windy. Going to see overnight disastrous conditions on the mountain passes. Very few places not taking snow, and the Caribou maybe being the least snowy place in the province or the least rainy, however you want to look at it, depending where you're at. Low now on Calgary on Friday morning. On Edmonton, Alberta, starting to see a lot of snow. That low is now fully developed. Alberta Clipper starting to go there. Heavy snow in Edmonton by lunch hour. It's probably dumping pretty good in some of the wherever that band of snow really comes through. Looks like most of Alberta is going to be seeing that. Things clearing and improving themselves on Friday for BC as we await the next storm out there off the coast to see what it's going to do. That high pressure is blocking it, though, and that's why it's probably not going to be allowed to come straight into BC. It may get deflected up towards the north. That's what the thinking is so far on most of the models. We could sort of just corroborate that for you quickly before we go here. Next forecast, we'll look at precip totals just so we have a better idea Wednesday, Thursday, what's coming. Mostly, yeah. So both ECGFS, both ECMWF, both models, even Icon models seem to indicate that the Saturday storm is going to be more pushing towards the north. Suckers for punishment, eh? Master says, change your clock. Everyone says, okay. I don't really have like a clock to change. I guess most of mine just do it by themselves. But I used to like be a rebel about it and just be like, I'm not changing my fucking clock. No. And it's like, I'm just going to live on summertime. And then... what happens is the sun goes down at this time. It's 4:55. They can't get anything done already. Like, why don't people want an extra hour of light in the evening, like to 6 o'clock, so that you can still sit outside and smoke weed or read novels or rake your leaves or whatever you do, like, why take that hour away? I don't get it. I hate it. Anyways, that's the reality I'm forced to suffer in. People. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.